Hey climbers, Brent here. Are you ready to write your best songs ever? Are you ready to take that next step in your songwriting journey? Well, I want to help you with that. Listening to the C.L.I.M.B podcast is a great way to get started on your songwriting journey and to learn the basics about the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting. But eventually, you're probably going to need the personal touch. You're probably going to need some one-on-one feedback, some advice, and some help reaching your songwriting goals. And that's what I want to help do for you. I want to help you write your best songs ever. And I want to help you learn the art, the craft, and the business of songwriting, of how to turn pro in your mind and in your behavior before you ever turn pro on paper. Before you ever have the awards to hang on the wall, I want to give you the mindsets and the skills to earn that stuff. And so we'll dive into your questions and I'll give you honest answers. And I can help repair your song if it's already written but has a couple bugs and has some opportunities to get better. Or we can help prepare your song if you have an idea, a notion, a title. We can do your own private song title challenge if you want. If you want to get ready for a co-write, if you have a meeting coming up and you want to get your stuff locked down where it's the best it can be, I'm happy to help you do that as well. You can see my calendar, get all the details, and actually book a session at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That is songwritingpro.com/coaching. Now, if you're still not sure if a coaching session with me is the right thing for you, let's listen to what this climber had to say about their session.
This review is for anyone who is on the fence about booking a session with Brent Baxter. I have done several one-on-one coaching sessions via Skype and also completed an online class that Brent hosted a few months ago. I have nothing but great things to say about both of these experiences. I am a physician and a hospital administrator. Music and songwriting are two of my favorite hobbies and have been for many years. But as a hobbyist and someone who spends a great deal of time at work and in my career, it can be difficult to concentrate on something completely unrelated, or for that matter, to devote the tremendous time and energy that is required to see decent results. Brent is a true professional who can quickly orient himself to what you want and what you need and be that perfect lyric writing partner that you otherwise would not be able to find. I tried writing with other amateurs online in the past, but it never went anywhere. Having the insight and experience of a professional, someone who has dedicated his career to the development of his craft, really makes a difference. If you do your part after he does his, I guarantee you will be happy that you spent the money and the time, and you will be hooked.
All right, guys, welcome to another Song Title Challenge where the question is, climbers, how would you write this one? This is where climbers, listeners of the podcast, send in song titles to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. info@daredevilproduction.com. They put Song Title Challenge in the subject line. You can send in as many titles as you want. I put them in the right folder, and then I spring them live to Brent on the podcast. And we mimic what happens in the first 15 minutes of any pro songwriting session where you have a title, and before you start writing lyrics, you're cooking up 4 or 5 or 6 different conceptual approaches to writing that title to make sure that you really have the best possible theme going through that song. This is not a co-write in any way, shape, or form. You can use all of what we come up with. You can use none of what we come up with. The only thing we require is that you invite us to the number one party, right? Anything else you want to add to that, brother?
No, that's it. We just want to, we're here for infotainment. We want to inspire you, educate you, motivate you, and then we have the number one, and we'll help celebrate you.
That's right. And this is a great exercise, by the way, if you're a writer and you've got a backlog of hooks in your hook book. I don't care who you are as a human being, those first couple years of hooks that you haven't seen those pages in a while just because you're so much farther along in your hook book, it's like lettuce. They wilt, they grow, the energy comes off of them, and you might have some really golden diamonds in there if you go back to some of those titles and just spend 15 minutes on each one of those titles, or at least on a handful of them, doing this exercise. And Brent, you did this recently, and all of a sudden that song's getting pitched now because you wrote it, you got it cut, a demo cut, and now you're pitching for cuts. And that was something that, had you not done this exercise right here, would have just been kind of forgotten.
Oh, heck yeah. Just this morning, I got a new demo in that I wrote earlier this week off a title that's, 10 years old or something, and I was doing my personal song title challenge, brought the new me to that old title, right? Because I'm new every day, right? I'm growing, I'm learning, and so are you. You bring the new you to that old title, it's new. And I feel good about it, and so did my co-writer because he woodshedded and did his demo, and it sounds great, and I'm
I'm ready to start slinging it. So yes, you can get real results from this. I got another one I wrote with an artist. Again, song 10 years old, and he's in a band that's doing records and having hits in Southern gospel. He's like, ooh, I think I may like this one for us. Let me hang on to this one. I'm like, I'm not going to tell you how old that title is, because the idea was new. It's just the title was old. Finally figured it out because I brought the new me to the old title. So yes. And right now you're at the house anyway. Maybe your co-writes have slowed down. Now's a great time to go back through, till that soil, aerate it, water it, see what pops up.
There you go. I love that. Till the soil. All right. So this week's song title challenge is from Graham Donahue.
Graham. All right.
And the song is called Three's Company, Two's a Crowd.
All right.
Three's Company, Two's a Crowd.
All right. There we go. Boy, I feel like I've heard that somewhere before. Obviously I heard the Three's Company thing, but the Two's a Crowd. I almost feel like somebody's cut that before. I don't know. But I can't remember it, so we're just going to be starting fresh. All right. Well, thanks for sending that in, Graham. This is going to be a little bit of a head twister. Let's figure out how we can do this. And I was talking to a buddy the other night, and we're talking about this idea that a title that I brought in and we worked on it, it was just convoluted. It's like we got to get down to the simplicity. Like, we're making it way too complicated. We got to make this sucker simple. And so I think that'd be the challenge with this. How do you make Three's Company, Two's a Crowd simple? Maybe Mom's gone from the house, and now I'm just stuck at home with Hurricane Hazel. And when I don't have the help, things get destroyed. So now two's a crowd when it's me and Hazel. That could be a thing, right? Just drawing from my own life. Wouldn't have thought of that a year ago, that angle. That's how you bring the new you to old titles. We're at the house and Mom's with the baby and she's helping him. You're both, but you can play zone defense. That's cool. Everything's good. Then Mom goes off to run an errand or whatever. And now you're with the baby and like, oh my gosh, this house just got a lot more crowded because this kid's out of control and I'm not a mom. So that's just a goofy one, but hey, throw that stuff out there. Three's Company, Two's a Crowd. But the first thing I did think of was a baby. Man, girl, baby.
Sure.
But how does it make two a crowd? Let's see. Three's.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
This is breaking some of the general rules here because it's going to be on a sadder note. But, you could spin it and make it kind of funny. And it could be a really good idea for a younger sort of male artist or female artist that's single, whose brand is, reaching that younger crowd. But what if it was like where you start to realize it's time to break up with the person, because you're having much more fun in a group setting with people than you are like when all of a sudden when you're alone, it's like, it's just.
No, dude, I totally thought of that too. It's like, yeah, sometimes, or even if it's not time to break up, it's like, Emily and I've been married for how many years now? Like going on 14 years now. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And she stays with me because she's like, who would take me? I got 5 kids. But whatever works, man. Whatever your secret sauce is. And but you kind of like, okay, all the stuff. And sometimes it's you can have more fun like going out with like another couple than sometimes just the two of you sometimes, because that way you don't end up. You get new stories, new input. We're all at the house. We know what the kids are up to. We don't want to just talk about my work. Her work is the kids. So like, well, okay, what else is going on? So sometimes it is fun to have that, and it would be weird because if it's one other person, like who's that one other person? That person that's kind of the social lubricant.
Social lubricant. I like that.
Yeah, they're the vibe guy in the room. So that could be something. Yeah, like 3, if it's someone else, it's cool. But maybe you become somebody else when you're alone, or that other person does. Like, you're a lot more pleasant when you're around other people. When it's just the two of us, you are not so pleasant.
Yeah.
So that's why Three's Company, Two's a Crowd. Which is, that's heavy. That's not a happy thing, but it might be a real thing that people deal with. Going, oh, my spouse or my boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever puts on this face in front of everybody else, and they don't see the person I see when it's just the two of us. And he lets the Mr. Hyde out or whatever. He lets or Dr. Jekyll or whatever. He lets his other side out. Three's Company, Two's a Crowd. He's all good in social setting.
It could be an inspirational, uplifting song about overcoming alcoholism, where Three's Company is, maybe the AA meeting, right? And Two's the crowd, me and Jack.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking
that gets
too
real bad.
About the numbers don't have to be people. The numbers could be drinks, right? Like I need that third drink before I start winding down or, kind of letting off steam. Three's company, two's a crowd. Like I'm not.
That's cool, man.
I'm not sufficiently jacked yet. It could be that sort of thing.
There's the line right there, because I'm not sufficiently jacked after 2 cocktails.
Yeah, I just can't wind down. Three's company, two's a crowd.
Oh, I like that, because that's just a total out of left field thing. Like two's a crowd. Like I still haven't gotten rid of my demons for the day, right?
Yeah, they just don't. It takes more than 2 to make them drown. It takes more than a couple to make them drown. Three's company, two's a crowd. So that could be a thing. So yeah, what can those numbers mean other than people? Because that's the way you expect it to be, is people, right? Three's company.
Right.
I love that. I love that old sitcom.
Right. And so right up. By the way, I looked up. I went on Spotify. I looked up online. I haven't seen any songs that are called this. Andy Warhol did say that one's company, two's a crowd, three's a party. That was nice. So he sort of switched up the idiom there.
Yeah,
a
he
little
played
bit
with it too. Yeah, and the original idiom is two's company, three's a crowd. That's the original thing that that Graham's playing off of here.
So already if you got a title that sort of flip flops on that, you're going to get some interest in wanting to hear it. Right, mm-hmm. Because it hasn't been done before.
It's familiar because we know the idiom, but yet, when I first heard it, my first thought was, how are we going to do that? So somebody else that is an A&R person or publisher, whoever, their first thought is going to be, how are they going to do that? Like, how are they going to pull that off?
It's a title that's going to make you want to listen to that song. And then if you come at it from left field, where instead of people, it's things, like you're going down that road, I think you're onto something killer here.
Yeah, you could be. Yeah, you could do it in a way could still be, unexpected.
So drinks, three's company, two's a crowd. Mm-hmm. What else?
Yeah, what else? Two's a crowd. Two things that, why is it crowd? Just to me, it denotes, company versus crowd denotes the three's company is a positive, the two's a crowd is a negative. So, why are things that are two the negative and more is better? That is tricky. So I like the drink thing. Two's company, three's a crowd. Two's company, three's a crowd. You're in bed, you're sleeping with your wife, and then by 3:00, there inevitably another kid comes in bed and crawls in with you. It's two's company, three's a crowd. Three's company, two's a crowd. No,
three's company, two's a crowd. Yeah.
Let's see. No.
Well, okay. So there is. Okay. So on back to your song that I cut with, I know you're not asleep because I can tell the way you breathe right now.
Yeah, okay? Let's fight.
So, in that moment, let's do a sequel. Like, in that moment, have you ever been in a relationship where you're having that tough conversation, or the 400-pound gorilla sitting on the bed, and that there's some tough conversation that you got to have? Maybe you got in trouble or something. Maybe it doesn't have to be a breakup thing. It doesn't have to be as heavy as that. But then the dog comes in, and you're like, hey, and it's like a great distraction, right? So it could be it could be like procrastination. It could be a metaphor for procrastination, like putting off the thing that you got to do because you're trying to avoid the one-on-one thing.
Yeah, or could it be like the third is like the bottle, the bottle of wine. That's our third part of our party is three's company. Two, when we're kind of, that's instead of the dog being the distraction, like, oh, we just need a bottle of wine. Our third party here.
Oh, there you go.
Could be a thing too, which it's still.
Could be about a first date where it's kind of all a little strange until that bottle gets opened and everybody relaxes a little bit and you start to get to know one another or something.
Yeah, or even the third person is the bartender. Thanks. Without him, I don't know where we'd be right now. Bringing the drinks.
Two's the crowd, three's company.
That kind of thing, yeah. What else? Okay, if we go the more spiritual thing, kind of made me think of it too. It's like I have, me and my demons and Jesus,
There you go.
Like three's company, two's a crowd if I leave out Jesus, right? Or God, however you're going to say it. But that could be cool too, going, my demons are chasing me, whatever, my demon or whatever. It's like, and that's the two, that's a crowd.
Could you bring in like the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost into that?
I was trying to think about how to do the Trinity, because that'd be three's company, but two's a crowd. Like, well, you don't really get one without the other two, and You can't have, it's like, and they get along just fine.
Well, wait. You could apply that to the overcoming alcoholism thing, right? Like, two's a crowd, it's just me and a bottle of Jack and all the demons.
Yeah.
But three's company. When I'm with, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost or whatever, now I'm moving forward. I'm making money. What does a company do? It could be, maybe company means productive, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. Is there something you need 3 ingredients for where if you only have 2, it's not working? Like I need
water. H2O. You got to have
2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen.
Is it 2 oxygen and 1 hydrogen?
H2O. So the 2 is the H.
Oh,
the hydrogen,
2 hydrogen
and 1 is
oxygen.
Yeah.
Right. And if it's not, right, the derivative of that is like poison, right? Like if it's 1 and 1.
Yeah. What if it's like, was it? We need love, lust, and a little bit of luck, or whatever to make this thing work. 3's company, 2's a crowd. If we have lust and love, we don't have luck, or we have lust but no love, it ain't going to work. If we have love but we're just not really into each other, I just don't find you attractive, that's when we become friends. I don't know. Is there something like that you can play off of?
Okay. Now you could bring in a very clever sort of, this might be a little highbrow, but like the rule of 3, right? We sort of talk about that in the music industry, the rule of 3. You can have good, fast, and cheap. Pick any 2. But you can't have all 3. So you can have good and fast, but it won't be cheap. You can have good and cheap, but it won't be fast. You can have cheap and fast, but it won't be good. Right? If you could attribute that somehow to the
3's company, 2's a crowd.
Well, I guess that's any 2, but you can't have 3.
Be,
now that works
see, this is the
us.
stuff we got to work it out. I know I've gone down a couple blind alleys too. I feel like
I got it. I ain't got it.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So far, I like the simplicity of the, like, when I get that 3rd drink in me, I'll be fun to be around, but for now, 3, but I've only got a second one halfway down. 3's company,
I
2's
got a
a crowd.
40-hour week worth of troubles to drown.
Yeah, maybe and also like, I don't want to be around people until like I'm on my 3rd one. I'm still loosening up from work. I'm still a bear kind of thing. Like, so until
How about what if it's coffee?
Or coffee, yeah. I'm my 3rd coffee.
What if it's coffee in the morning? Like, I don't, three's company, 2's a crowd. Like, I can't even begin to talk to you until after my 3rd cup of coffee. Or until after, till I'm on my 3rd cup of coffee or something.
Exactly. Like, then your company. Before then, you're just a crowd. So you could do coffee, yeah, which would be cool. You could do the kind of the drinking thing, which is pretty intense. But it's simple, though. It's like, oh, I get it. I'm still winding down. Like, it's been a heck of a week at work kind of thing, and I'm still working off my bad mood, So come back when I'm on my 3rd one.
How about chords? 3 chords in the truth. Making a song with 2 chords don't work. It's,
you tell that to Achy Breaky Heart.
Achy Breaky Heart's only 2 chords?
I think so.
Wow.
I think so. That's what I've heard. So, and it wouldn't be crowded. It would be like less than a crowd. That's the thing, is like when less is way too much more. And I like the thing about, like, wow, we just need that social somebody, because the other, your bad side comes out when it's just the 2 of us. Yeah, 3's company, but 2's a crowd.
Well, what if we flip-flop it? Well, okay, why does necessarily the crowd have to be negative? What if 3's company is ho-hum, but 2's a crowd and the crowd's better, right? What if it's better when it's 2?
That would be... Yeah, in that case, it's basically 2's company and 3's a crowd. That'd be the same kind of context as you would mean it.
Yeah, you're right.
The normal way of saying it. So I'm like, why wouldn't you just say it the normal way? And so that would be my question on that. It's like, oh, then you're trying too hard. Just say it the normal way then. But what if it's, a family wanting to get pregnant and it's not happening? And every month, man, that test lets her down. And it's that house is getting small, and it's just like, it's wearing on them.
Oh.
They just want that third party. They want that baby. 3's company, 2's a crowd, or, this is, and we're just brainstorming, what if you lose the baby?
Ooh.
It was good when you had 3, now 2, and that, so many marriages break up after
because
the death
now
of a
it's
child.
all those demons that come with that. Like, I don't care who you are, like they, some horrible natural thing, that happens, and the baby just doesn't make it. Well, especially for the female, just there's a guilt that comes with that.
Well,
I don't think any female can
even
get around. Like they just feel somehow they could have done something different. It would have said like they failed, you know.
And also, you know, one partner's ready to kind of start moving on before the other one's ready, and it's so difficult. I mean, and it doesn't have to be just like an infant or a baby. I mean, back in high school, there was a girl that's a year older than us, but, you know, she died in a car wreck freshman year of college, and by a year or two later, her parents were divorced, you know, and she was like 18. And she wasn't an only child either, but it's that terrible thing of somebody's ready to move on, somebody grieves differently, and, you know, grief can really wear on a spousal relationship depending on how you grieve and how the other person perceives it. You know, there's all this trauma. Now, that's heavy, but it's also reality for people.
That could be good.
You know, he'd rather be almost like you'd rather be on your own right now, because three was company, but two's a crowd. Like, you know, I'd rather be alone.
What if it's like I drive my truck kind of a thing where there's two brothers raised by a single mom, and one of them, you know, died in war.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of like that thing. And so then there's like you'd rather be on your own. Maybe it's more introspective. It doesn't necessarily have to focus on the crowd. It's just like, it's just too much. You know, the crowd meaning it's too much. There's too much going on, and I need to be, you know, alone.
What if it's like I can handle myself in a crowd and kind of put on this happy face? It's kind of like the tracks of my tears, you know, that old classic song, you know? Might seem like I'm the life of the party because I tell a joke or two, but, you know, if you look closer, you'll see the tracks of my tears. What is that kind of thing? Like I can be all right at a party, in a crowd, in a group thing. You get me down one-on-one with somebody, and the social dynamic changes, and kind of my sad comes out. You know, so I'd rather be alone right now. If it's three's company, but two's a crowd. Like I can't, because it gets real, right?
That's it right there.
If it's a group thing, I can hide in a group.
Yeah.
With just me two, the two of us, no, or social anxiety. But I feel like, then I'm sad about the girl or whatever. So I just rather go home and be alone right now.
I think that's it. I think that's the best one. You're dealing with some kind of loss, some kind of grief, some kind of something. And so the party works. It's distraction. It's, you know, going into work works, right? You know, going to a party works. But when we're one-on-one, then it comes out, you know, then you're kind of forced to be real or something. And
you could maybe apply that to
forced to deal with it.
Yeah, it's conversations are different. Group conversations versus one-on-one. You know, what if it talks about maybe going out with somebody, like maybe she's showing interest in you and you're just not ready to move on yet. You know, you're still kind of brokenhearted. It's like, yeah, we can hang out in a crowd. It's cool, but I don't know if I'm ready to go on a date yet, kind of thing. Like, we can be around each other, but I'm sorry. I just, I can't do that right now because three's company, but two's a crowd. Like, I'm not ready for that. Like, I can go and I can hang out, but I'm just not ready for a date because three's company, but two's a crowd, man.
Oh, that's good. I like that too.
Because that feels simpler than like, oh, when I get with one other person, the conversation gets more real. That may be a little harder to massage, but it's like, yeah, I've seen you around, and because I can play like I'm all right when I'm just in a crowd, but, you know, a group of friends or whatever. But for a date, I'm not ready for that yet.
Now, you could take it on a little less heavier note on that and make this a fun kind of party song. Where it's about somebody who just isn't interested in being in a relationship at all. Now, I'm just here for the party, right? Maybe somebody's taking an interest, and it's like, no, three's company, two's a crowd, you know? And
maybe you're not talking to that person, because that's kind of a jerky thing to say, maybe for an artist. But if it's like you're talking to the listener, like, and I could, you know, she's making eyes, but no. Because three's company, but two's a crowd kind of thing. I'm not going to settle down.
Even
three's company, but two's a crowd. You know?
I would never think about saying it to the person. It's like an anthem,
right? I'm just saying, like, you know, that's where anthem. Like how you serve it up, right? Yeah. I could settle down with someone.
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
But nah, I ain't gonna do that right now.
Marriage is an institution. I'm far too young for an institution.
To be institutionalized, right? But I want to bring that up because some people may just go, okay, direct approach. Yeah, girl, we could go out, but blah, 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 choose a crowd. You know, and if it's just like, that could come off jerky versus like, I'm kind of a wounded bird, you know, and I'm just not ready for that girl. They kind of go, oh, that's sweet. But the other just, you know, an anthem of freedom you can come off looking like a jerk if you're talking directly to that girl. You're letting her down. They don't want to hear Keith Urban say that to them.
Go with the anthem of freedom, but to the party, like to the listener, like you said. Like,
to the
hey, 'cause
crowd,
we're not
exactly.
Here.
You're not shooting them down.
We're not here. We're not on the prowl. Three's company, two's a crowd. We're here to, we're here for each other.
Yeah,
for the right
settle
now.
down.
We're too young to settle down. Yeah. It's just, it could be. It's almost like Jersey Shore. Like it's a whole. It's this group of people. Right, like if you speak, maybe if you write the language to where you've got your squad of people, right? There's this close-knit group of friends, and they don't let anybody in. It could be like a really good, fun party time.
Yeah.
Kind of, I'm here for the party song, anthemic, and very cool that way. And just like, I'm too young to even think about getting serious about anything right now. And not for nothing, after what's going on right now, that might be a great song to write. Well, I suspect after we get out of the other end of this, and I'm not just talking about the virus, but the impact of it all. Who knows where it's going to go. It's no secret that all those party songs in the 80s happened after that really long, ugly recession in the late 70s and early 80s. We were just looking for some escapism.
Yeah. So there we go. This is probably our longest song title challenge.
But this was the biggest challenge. Like, this was tough.
There's a big challenge and try to find it. So hopefully, Graham, we found some stuff that you can use or not use. I know we found some stuff you cannot use, but hopefully there's some stuff in here you can use. But to anybody who's listening, dig deeper, because hopefully you went on this ride with us and went, oh, wow, okay, I didn't think about that. I mean, there's stuff there we didn't know about until 25 minutes in, right? So it's the good work. It's building that muscle. And listen, Graham, if you or anyone else wants to follow up with a private consultation, man, we do those. I can help you prepare your song. I can help you repair your song. You bring me titles. We'll do song title challenges all day long. It's fun. I love digging in and building that muscle and trying to come up with some ideas that light the songwriter up. I also do private coaching. I do song feedback, all that stuff. You get all the details at songwritingpro.com/coaching. And for the time being, we have a 33% discount on song feedback services and coaching services. So just to help everyone out during this time where everything's a little tighter, I know it is for the Baxter family, but the discount code is COVID-19 sucks. COVID-19 sucks. You go to songwritingpro.com/coaching and let you see my calendar. It gives you all the details. You can book a session and you can go ahead and put in your discount code there to save you 33%. So that discount won't last forever because, Lord willing, neither will the COVID-19 virus, but just help you through this time. But that's what I got.
All right. Sounds great, guys. This podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.